All right, here we are.
I guess that means we're live.
We are live with our first ever two Pastor Bobs and a microphone.
And Bob, it would be really great if it was our first and not our last. So let's try to do a good job here,
I think so. We got to get high ratings.
Yeah, we do. That's what we're doing this for. Well,
Yep.
two Pastor Bobs and a microphone. Unique title, and that's exactly what we're doing.
Yep, that is. And you proposed this idea a while ago, and here we are, and enjoying
Yes.
this new variety show. The older crowd will understand the term variety show.
And the younger crowd would probably understand talk show.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we are a variety talk show.
Yes. Yeah. And you'll be doing the song and dance later,
Well, and I thought I could. And so I decided to class things up, Bob, and I also have my cow mug
Well,
that I'm using today. All the cool people are getting these, just so you know.
yeah, as a Wisconsinite, I can tell you I appreciate it. I'm
Mm.
literally blocks away from cows in a field, so and we are the dairy state, so
There you go. Well, and it's a
as we
cool thing to have.
yeah, as we say in Wisconsin, come to Wisconsin and smell our dairy air. So
That is awesome. I like that. Well, Bob, it's an interesting time that we live in.
yes,
And
indeed,
it's one of the reasons that I'm excited for this talk show. There's so much bad news. I'm excited to bring some good news.
it
And
is. Yep.
we have the ultimate good news, but I'm excited to hear from some people with some good news.
Yeah, and we have quite a lineup, don't we? We have
We
George
do.
Ochoa joining us, and Matt Bowler, and Jonathan from the Metal Shop. Just all sorts of
Yes.
cool things. Christian Tapper joining us all the way from across the pond, as they say.
Yes, in Finland. And
Yep.
and we've got Rosalind, and Rosalind is such a great band. And I'm excited for you to see those guys. I've known them all for many, many, many years. Well, I've known them since they were kids, basically. And um, yeah, it's going to be awesome to have them on the show as well.
Well,
And
and we have a lot of cool people joining in this morning. I mean, for example, on the screen, Larry Fish says good morning.
Larry Fish, good morning to you, Larry.
Tina Winters says hi from West Hollywood.
Hi, Tina. Good.
Um, we have Andrew joining us on YouTube. He says greetings, people.
Andrew, good to see you too.
Let's
Awesome.
see. From YouTube, we have Little Sean Hughes. Hi, guys, from NB Canada.
All right.
And so there's a lot of people joining on right now. There's,
I'm
let me
glad.
see here. Whoa, we got another guy, Marco from Croatia, joining us.
Good. Good. Good to
So,
see you, Marco. Great.
yeah.
Well, some
And
good
here,
old sanctuary friends here.
yeah. And you got a
That's
neighbor on here,
awesome.
basically, Austin from Murfreesboro, Tennessee.
Yes. Awesome.
So, and we got
Awesome, Austin.
Michael from North Carolina. And so we're going to have a good show this morning. And,
Great.
I would encourage people that are commenting. We have T Dog from Minnesota watching on YouTube. I would encourage people that if during the show, if you have comments that you want to post, we will do our best to get them up on the screen, just like I'm doing right now. I'm putting people's
Yeah,
comments on the screen, and that way Pastor Bob can address them or our guests as well. So, yeah.
absolutely. And we're going to be taking questions at the end too, Bob, and people maybe
Yes.
can get ready for that. We have a really good lineup of guests today. And because we're going to move quickly through it all, we're going to save our questions actually for the very end, and we'll spend some time there as well.
Yeah.
So, Bob, I want to spend this time uh, at the beginning of the show to talk about world events, not from a political point of view,
Hmm.
but from a biblical one. I don't know about you, but I get kind of tired of hearing everybody's political point of views.
I do. That's a
The
lot of
rants.
opinions.
There's a lot of opinions, and I think opinions are great as long as they're based on sound biblical principles. And there's we have the all the stuff going on in Afghanistan, the new abortion rulings, the new gay rights things that are happening in the news right now. All of these things that Christians are posting about and concerned about, and well, we should be.
Right.
But
Yeah.
you know, it's it's really important that we not get political, but that we get biblical. That we
Right.
make sure that everything that we're seeing, that we have a biblical perspective on it.
I think that's actually a great slogan for your next mug. It's time not to get political, but biblical.
I like that.
That's a
Those
good
the new mug.
slogan.
You know, this mug is really cool, by the way. The mug for the month for
Yes.
my show, and it says, I'll just read it. It says, "Tell me, I'll probably forget. Teach me, maybe I'll remember. Involve me, and I will own it and live it." And it's all about mentoring. We're going to talk with George about that this morning a little
Yeah.
bit,
And I just
and
put up on the screen that if people want that mug, they can go to the website on the bottom of the screen right now. So
great. We're Metal Weir Family. It's where you get all of our swag. And you know, the show is brought to you by Headbangers Brew.
I have not been a coffee drinker until May when I had some in your house, and now I'm an official coffee drinker. And I'm not being
It'll
paid for
hook
that
you.
endorsement. I'm not being paid for that endorsement. So just saying.
That's amazing. It is really good, isn't it,
It
Bob?
is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And as you know, all of this stuff helps to support the homeless ministry, which is so awesome. So I'm happy that we've got it. But the whole thing about mentoring is important. And mentoring, Bob, is basically living your life in front of people.
Yeah.
It's being a Christian, good times and bad times, easy times, difficult times, whatever. It's using the Bible, using our faith as our foundation. And so when we do this opening slot from now on, we want to talk about some world events, not from a political or an opinion point of view, but a biblical point of view. So if you have some things in the future that you'd like us to discuss in this opening segment that have to do with world events, Bob, let's put our email address up on the screen. You can
Okay.
just write to us here and we'll consider it for next time.
And can you
And of
remind me?
course,
Can you remind us what the email address is?
well, you know, I've forgotten what it is.
Okay. Well, I can certainly do
Yeah.
this, and then we will
I
forward.
think Jason made a new one for us, and I think it's PBS at sanctuaryinternational.com. I believe that's it.
Okay. I will.
Yeah. Yeah. That should be it. Anyway, just let us know what you'd like to discuss, and we'll do that in this particular segment that we're doing here. So, Bob, I had an interesting thing that happened to me. And if I kind of seem like I'm a little out of it, it's because, and a little out of it more than usual, it's it's because I'm having some trouble with my vision. It's really strange. I was shopping in Home Depot of all places, and all of a sudden, my right eye went kind of dim, and it looked like I had a bunch of hair over my eyes.
Oh no.
And so I went like this right away, and I didn't. There was nothing there, and so I went to my eye doctor yesterday, and you know, he looked in and everything, and he said that I have a torn retina, kind of detached torn retina in my
Oh
eye.
no.
So I'm going to be seeing a surgeon today and figure out what's going on and how do we fix it. But yeah, kind of a weird thing. So I appreciate the prayer for that, and in the meantime, it looks like I have a big spider web or hair over my eye in the meantime.
Yikes. So are they going to be doing
Yeah,
surgery today on it, or are they going to just look
I
at it?
don't know what they're going to do. My eye doctor told me that the um, we need to be expedient with it. The faster, the better.
Yeah.
If you catch it really quickly, so it might be yet today. I just told him that, I wasn't able to in the morning because I have this. This is important.
Yeah.
So between now and next week, that may be happening. So, Bob, you've had a bunch of, how many surgeries have you had in the last couple of years?
So since January of 2020, I've had 8 surgeries.
Wow.
5
Incredible.
hernias, which were part of those surgeries, and
Yeah.
complications from that, because anytime you have that many surgeries in your abdominal area, scar tissue becomes an issue. And we'll just put it this way, and other things that men deal with that as a result of those
Right.
surgeries. So, but yeah, the scar tissue actually folded my appendix in half, and so they had to pull that out. And then later on, something unrelated was a complete sinus rebuild. I had a severely deviated septum. I had 90% of my left side closed up, and
Wow.
and that was a difficult surgery because I can't smell anything. I couldn't smell anything, and right away everybody chalked up to COVID, but I didn't have COVID, so they just did that. But and then most recently, a couple weeks ago, gallbladder removal, and I hope that's it now. So
yeah, I hope it
I think
is
I
too.
funded the new wing addition at the hospital.
I think I have too. We're ready for things to go smoothly now.
Yeah.
Now we're all fixed, I hope.
Right. I hope so as well.
Yeah.
So,
man. Well, it's for me, one of the things that kind of sucks getting older is that, you do start to experience those things. I have
You do.
arthritis. I have some of that stuff. I'll be 70 next year. So, I guess it's inevitable. And I'm still trying to figure out how I got to 70, almost 70.
Well, yeah, and I think it is confession time. You're 70, I'm 47, so
Yeah, right.
and yeah, you're at 70, and I'm sure you still feel like a 40-year-old in your
Well,
mind.
21. I've been 21 for a whole lot of years now. Yeah,
That's good.
And I'm not sure, but it might not be as believable as it once was. But I always tell people that I've been 21 for this many years.
Yeah, Matt, I thought I'd put
Yeah.
up here. Matt, our upcoming guest, said it's okay if you can't smell anything because we can smell you over here. Yeah, thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Matt,
We'll talk about that. He's one of our guests today, by the way.
With
And we have
comments like
some
that, I don't know
great
that.
guests.
Yeah, with comments like that, I don't know if he's going to be our guest.
Oh, I know, exactly. We may have to double think about this.
Right.
I'm not so sure.
I
Really?
spend time in my prayer closet. So,
Yes.
but
Well, our first guest has been a friend of mine for so many years. And I'm trying to think how many years. I think it's been either 36 or 37 years now that we've been good friends. He's been in just about every band that there is.
And what I'm wondering is, so and I know where you're going here, and so far George hasn't signed in yet, and so
Really?
yeah, and so who we have online currently in the studio with us is Match, and so he's the only one that's logged in right now. So maybe we could go over to him first.
Let's do that.
And he's going to be
Match, and
he's going to be talking about metal missionaries, right?
Well, I want to do this segment, Bob, called Metal Missionaries, and just kind of finding out what people are doing really around the world with different kinds of metal type organizations and ministries. And so Matt, I have known for over 30 years as well.
Wow.
And let's bring him on. That'd be awesome.
1 second. Let me dial him in.
Yo,
there he is.
What's up, guys?
Matt, you're on.
I'm on. Are you ready for this?
I'm not sure.
I don't think anyone is
ready, don't we? Yes. So Matt,
yeah,
I was just saying that we've been friends for 30 some years now. How many years? Do you know?
That's
33 years, maybe 34.
Maybe
Maybe even 35, something like that. And
Yeah, I
you were a
think I
little
showed up
younger
around
then.
88.
Yeah. So, Matt, let's just give a little background for you. You've been with Sanctuary for a very long time now,
Yeah.
35 years. Um, you're an actor. You live in California, and people have seen you in TV shows, movies, commercials. You've kind of done a little bit of everything.
Music
You're
video.
also, yeah, there you go. Yes. So, and you're a motorcycle enthusiast.
There
There
you
you
go.
go.
I guess guilty as
Yeah.
charged, you know. I've been a biker. We used to ride with the Wolf Pack going to Sanctuary in the 80s,
Yeah.
and we had
Yeah.
choppers and all sorts
Yes.
of guys, you know, different guys riding different bikes. And we'd show
Well,
up and,
bikes have always
you know,
been
the
a part of
news would be there,
Sanctuary.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
I
always been
ride,
part
but
of what
it's
we do.
nothing to brag about.
Oh, where do you ride?
So I back in the day, I rode a 95 Intruder 1400 cc, but I had to sell that when I bought my house. They put a roof on it, and so when COVID hit, I picked up a 1985 Honda Nighthawk, and my kids and I said, okay, this is shop class, and we restored the old thing from not running to running. So now I run a little 650 Nighthawk.
Hey,
Well,
you
that
know,
sounds like
Dana
fun.
Nelson's on here, and he had something like that when we used to ride. He had a
Yeah.
Honda, I think it was like a 550, and I don't remember if it was a Nighthawk or not. Dana, if you're on there, make sure you comment and tell us what it was, because I remember that. That was good times.
I'll put it up if
Yeah.
he comments.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, and Matt, you know, you're not, you're riding a real motorcycle.
Well, I'm not going to downplay any of these other bikes. You know, I mean, like you said, an aficionado. I've ridden non-American bikes before, but yeah, I'm riding a big American-made built Harley right now.
Nice.
And yeah, I've got a Street Glide and custom, and yeah.
Well, you just went to Sturgis. Now,
that's right.
There's a reason that we're talking about this today, because we're doing a little fact finding and seeing how Sanctuary might possibly involved in motorcycle ministry, and so explain what Sturgis is.
Sturgis is the world's largest motorcycle rally, and by largest I mean bikers from all over the world go on these rides, you know, anywhere from a day to 2 to 3 to 4 days riding on, you know, through the deserts of America and the Midwest. They end up in South Dakota, and for 8 or 9 days, the entire town of Sturgis becomes this motorcycle mecca. And there's lots of activities, and it's nonstop noise for 8 or 9 days. I mean, you think some of these metal shows are loud, and you know, the low end shakes your ears. Try to be around 2,000 Harleys in the duration of an hour, and you'll know what real loud is.
Yeah, exactly. And Sturgis isn't a huge place. It's just this little town of Sturgis just grows to this huge thing. It's the biggest event in Sturgis. It probably keeps them going. Dana says, "Don't worry, I went to a beautiful Harley." Yeah.
Yeah.
And
There
he
we
says
go.
he says the old man saw it. He's talking about me. And yeah, it is. It's a great bike.
And regarding his old bike, I'm guessing this is what he said. Hey, bro, with a 6-foot steered front end. So,
whoa.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah. I think he was commenting on my chopper, because I had a Triumph Springer with about a 3.5-foot rake on the front. So
nice.
Yeah. And then he also had a Honda back then.
Sturgis, not the most godly place.
You know,
there's
things going on. Yeah, I mean, you know, I think
give us
the
a little
concept
example. What do you see if you're walking down the streets in Sturgis? What is the atmosphere like? What's happening?
Well, it's like going to a metal show, and there's a lot of black leather and denims and black shirts, black band shirts, This is this year's Sturgis shirt. And then you see a lot of women that are wearing well ventilated clothing, maybe if they're wearing clothing at all, because in some of the locations outside on the outskirts of Sturgis, clothing is optional, and some of the bartender slash other women might be wearing something along the lines of just pasties and a thong. There's a lot of skin painting going on too.
Mm. So it's not a place you would necessarily bring the family.
Well, some people take their kids, they leave the kids in the campgrounds and the kids play around. And then there are kids activities where you can shield them from some of the other things going on. There's like little dirt bike enduro tracks for kids and little pocket bike tracks where kids can go out and, let's just say you're, above the age of 13 and, you've been on a 60 or an 80 and you've been on these smaller vehicles and you can go out and have a lot of fun with your friends and, helmets and pads and they race around these little tracks and it's fun.
Well, yeah, that sounds great. So we did a little bit of fact finding there, Matt, and you and I have been talking about the possibility of maybe even doing a sanctuary tent in the future. Bringing some bands in and just doing some event there. How important is that kind of ministry at Sturgis?
I think this is worth mentioning, by the way, that Jamie McCavanagh admitted to wearing pasties as well. So just
yeah, let's not go there.
That's not a good look, Jamie.
I mean, I'm thinking back to wedding party days with makeup, and if he were to wear something like that at Sturgis, the makeup would just be dripping because it's so hot. It's in the 90s. I'm assuming that the pasties adhesive would be peeling, and I can't. The mental image of Jamie and pasties is just a little too much.
Yeah. Let's.
I need something else.
Let's not. We were just talking about ministry, getting very spiritual, and you see what Jamie does. I'm just saying.
Every time.
And he's a podcaster too. I don't know. We might have to rethink that.
Yeah.
Really.
But anyways, I digress. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt there.
That's okay.
Hey, that's what their comments are for, right? All right. So going back to
is something like that, Matt.
Well, I would say giving people that alternative, and I don't mean people that necessarily go to church. I'm talking about folks that might not want to completely immerse themselves in the party atmosphere. If we had that alternative stage or a location, a venue where sanctuary could be present and sanctuarians who are motorcyclists could be, and all of the all of the metal bands that we work with could perform, it would be an alternative. It would probably be an oasis in the desert, so to speak, amidst all of this other stuff going on. Maybe people might want to go there to, work off or maybe get past their hangover and know that they don't have to keep grinding with some of the activities going on there because it'll wear you down. And I think sanctuary would definitely, be a great asset to Sturgis.
Yeah, I think so too. And I've always had the motorcycle tie-in. My cousin is the president of Hell's Angels, and so and he's a very famous biker, Sonny Barger. So I've kind of grown up with that, and even though I haven't been I'm a horrible driver. I really am. I know I would kill myself if I was on a motorcycle. I know I would. That's why I don't do it.
You and your mother both have a lead foot.
Yeah, there you go.
Yep.
I need that. I told my mom we could get a motorcycle with a sidecar, and then I could ride in the sidecar.
No, what? I was saying that you could take your mom in the sidecar. That would be great.
She's a better driver, and she drives faster than I do. Still, she's 91. She still drives pretty fast. So
Oh gosh, that would be a good
motorcycle mama.
That would be something to see. That would be so much
fun. So you really have a burden though for the whole motorcycle ministry, and it's not just
Yeah.
once a year performing, but continually the clubs. And let me just say that I have a lot of respect for motorcycle clubs, a lot of respect. You know, a lot of things that get done in our communities are done by people in motorcycle clubs. You know,
Yeah.
whether it's working with the homeless or different community events. It's there's a camaraderie that happens with motorcycle enthusiasts getting together. It's like
Mhm.
it's a metal thing. It's the metal community is the same way. And
Yeah.
if you take heavy metal motorcycle guys, I'm just saying.
Yeah, it seems to work. You know, you can put all these misfits together in the same room, and there's definitely a brotherhood.
Yes, absolutely. Well, Matt, we're going to check back with you again for periodically. We'll see what's going on with all that. We really hope to grow this ministry, and if you have some ideas, if you have some thoughts on it, if you're a motorcycle enthusiast and you'd like to just let us know, comment down below and just say I'm into motorcycles. I'd love that, and we'd like to know how many motorcycle people are out there. So that would
Yeah,
be awesome.
absolutely.
Matt, thank you so much. I appreciate
Thanks,
you
Matt.
joining us. Good to see you,
Love you
dude.
guys. All
Love you,
right.
buddy.
You too.
See you. Bye bye. All right.
Well, yeah, and
Well,
I
he's
think
a
it's
good
worth
guy.
mentioning. I think it's
Yeah.
worth mentioning that you have Hayden's done a pretty cool design for the cycle ministry when that comes. You know, that's a pretty cool graphic people are going to want to keep their eye on. I showed a couple guys this morning at breakfast that ride that have been to Sturgis and stuff, and they've loved that logo.
Well, and we'll show it before too much longer. It's the big center patch that might be in the back of a motorcycle jacket, and
Yeah,
you know we're just kind of playing around with a bunch of these ideas, but it's really fun. I think it'll be a cool thing.
yeah. Well,
So
coming up on this show, we have quite a few other segments. We're waiting for people to log in, but currently we have Morton from the band Rosalind, and
yes.
we're waiting on Niels to log in as well. But we do have Christian Tapper here as well.
Okay.
I'll kind of leave it up to you on what segment you'd like to go into next. You
Well,
let me know.
if we're waiting for the other guys from Rosalind to come in, we'll have three of them
Yeah.
total. We'll have Ebe, we'll have Morton, and we'll have Nils. So as soon as you see those three guys come in, Levi's not going to be able to join us today, but the other three will. So
Should we
let's go
kick
to
it?
Christian for right now until the other
Okay.
guys come in.
1 second.
That would be awesome. And Christian, where are you?
Hey,
What's
hey.
up, everybody?
What's up,
Good to
Christian?
see you. It's been a long time, Pastor Bob 2.0.
Yeah, it has. We hung out what was that, 2016 or 17 at PB's house, and that was the first time we met.
Yeah, is it that long?
It was, yeah, because I was looking back on
man.
I did a pilgrimage through Graceland and all of that stuff, and that was that same trip.
Oh,
that's a
that's
good
so
trip.
cool. That's so
That's
cool,
a good
man.
trip. Well, Christian Tapper is one of our old podcasters.
Oh,
You know,
Yeah,
he did this show called
Love Bound back in the
Love
day.
Bound, and then changed it to
2013.
Love Found when you got married, and
Yes,
he's
that was always the
doing a
plan.
bunch of other kinds of podcasting now. We'll talk to you about that in a minute. But we're calling this segment "Where in the world are you?" and where in the world are you?
Where in the world am I? Well, as you can see, I'm in China.
Yeah.
Actually, that's not true. But it kind of looks like that because that's how we have
Yeah,
our kitchen. No,
it does.
I'm in Finland, in Lapland, northern Finland, if you guys
Yes.
are familiar with that.
And now,
So-
Christian, you are from northern Sweden,
Yeah, actually only
I-
3 hours from here.
and that's where I met you when you were 14 years old
Yep.
at a festival we were doing there a long, long time ago, because you haven't been
Wow.
14 for a while.
No, it's been a while, even though I remember it pretty
Yeah.
vividly.
So Finland. Tell us how you ended up in Finland.
Well, I am part Finnish. I think it's like 16th or something like that. But
Okay, that qualifies you then. Yeah.
Yeah, so maybe it's my kind of my roots going back. No, well, my wife is Finnish. We have been married for almost 2 years in November coming up. So yeah, so we ended up. Well, she already lived in Finland, so I ended up moving here. But yeah, it's really good. I really love Finland. I always had some kind of like a soft spot in my heart for Finland, so it feels really fun to actually live here. These days, although we do travel quite a bit. We have lived in Norway for a year, and we just came back like a month ago. So we're always kind of traveling as much as we can. Yeah, we try as much as we can these times, you know. But we.
So what is the scenery like there?
The scenery. Well, I'm gonna take this off my stand.
Yeah, show us for a minute.
Now I'm gonna do my best here. I don't actually know if I can flip the camera here, but let me see here. So we got a pretty nice view from the balcony here.
You do? Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Wow.
And there's a lot of, so this is close to the city, but we do have quite a bit of like green areas and forests around here. So yeah, that's what it looks like.
It sure beats Wapaka, Wisconsin. I can tell you that.
Does it? Well, here's the best view right here. That's my wife.
Hey.
Yay. Hi, Hannah. Awesome. She's
hi.
Awesome, by the way.
She is the best.
Yes. She is the best. I agree with you. I think she's a keeper.
Oh, for sure.
Sandy Griffin is saying, hello, Christian. Love watching the love story between you and your gorgeous wife. That's nice. Do you remember Sandy?
So much. Of course,
yes.
Sandy. Thank you so much, Sandy. It's good to hear from you. It's been just been a long time.
So, Christian, you're working with languages, and tell us about that for a minute.
Yeah, I mean, I got my setup right here. I got my, ring light here.
Yeah, right.
So, I'm a language teacher on a platform called italki. So I give Swedish and English lessons over there. And I also have a website called Linktuitive, so linktuitive.com. And it's currently a blog. So I've got blog posts about learning languages, the languages I've learned, or any language really you want to learn. You can apply these principles. And I got a lot of cool things coming in the future, YouTube videos, things like that. So it's definitely going to be a lot when it comes to languages. That's really one of the biggest passions I have.
And you and Hedda have done some really great Instagram short things that are hilarious, really funny. You guys have a good time, don't you?
Oh, yeah, it's been so much fun. We've had a lot of fun doing those reels on Instagram. And it's been a while. We haven't done them now for a while. We've been traveling a lot and kind of had some time off. So it'll be fun to get back into those, soon. Yeah,
absolutely. Well, Christian, we want to keep checking back with you every once in a while, see what's going on. And we just put your URL on the screen, and so people can go to there. Let's put it up one more time.
Yeah.
And you can go there and find out what Christian's doing. If you need to learn Swedish, this is the guy.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You can go to italki.com and find me there in Swedish. Awesome. And also send me a message, just click on connect on my website and just to say hi, anything.
That sounds
I'll be responding to your emails. Great. And I like that little room you have over there, Pastor Bob 2.0.
Thank you.
Is that like your office?
That is my office.
That's so cool with the red walls and
got the red walls and my Velvet Elvis painting on the wall. And
is that what it is?
Yeah, it's an actual Velvet Elvis from the 60s.
Dude, that's so sick.
And that is priceless.
It is.
We thought in the 60s that we thought, there were a million of them. And now it's like, geez, I wish I had one of those.
Right.
Really? I'm not really familiar. Is that like a thing?
Yeah, it was a thing back in Elvis's heyday. A couple of well-known artists did paintings on velvet of Elvis. And they were kind of like, you could find them anywhere, but now they're pretty hard to find. And I have a friend that owns an antique store, and he came across one, and he gifted this to me. So.
And tell him if he ever finds another one.
Yeah. Well, he had a Velvet Elvis and a Velvet John Wayne. So,
oh my gosh, there you
yeah,
go.
Could be worth a lot in a few years.
yeah,
Yes,
yep.
yes.
Yeah,
Well, Christian,
even Match likes that. So,
yeah, there you go.
Match. That's so cool.
Velvet
All right. Well,
Elvis.
thank you
Yeah,
so much,
there.
guys.
Thank you so much for joining us. We'll have
Thank
you
you
on
for joining
again,
us.
and we'll get an update.
Perfect. Sounds good. Anytime.
All right.
Always a pleasure.
See you, my friend. Bye-bye.
See ya.
All
He
right.
is awesome, longtime friend, and we miss him around here. He used to come and visit me a lot, and
Oh, yeah.
of course, now that he's married, I don't know. He just wants to
Something
be with
about
his
being
wife.
married, you
What's
just,
up with that?
all of a sudden, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm joking.
Exactly. Well, is our band in the studio?
We have our band in the studio right now. We have Jonathan on standby with the metal shop. And so I'm going to let you tell me what segment you want to go into. But we have Eb, Jonathan, and I think we have Morton with us. We had Niles. I'm not sure. Or Niels. I'm not sure.
Niels.
Niels. I don't see him right now, but we have the three other guys. So.
Okay, well, if we're waiting for Nils, then let's go to Jonathan.
Okay.
And
hey.
Metal Shop segment with the man.
It's nice meeting you, Jonathan.
How you doing? I've been watching you for years, Bob 2.0, and it's good to finally talk to you on a podcast. So,
well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's nice to meet you as well.
So I can't believe you guys haven't met each other. You've both been involved with Sanctuary for a long time.
I know.
Yeah. I know. That's strange, isn't it?
And Jonathan, where are you located?
I am in Wichita Falls, Texas right now.
Okay. My wife and I just rolled through Texas in June. We did the from Santa Monica to Illinois, Route 66. We drove.
Oh, very nice.
So I'm not sure where you're located in relation to like Amarillo and stuff, but
yeah, we're in North Texas. We're not very far from Oklahoma.
Oh, okay. We should have stopped and had coffee.
I know. That would be
cool. Yes.
Next time.
And speaking of coffee, so how is that
good
for segue? Just saying, that's great. A good one. So Jonathan has been, Jonathan is actually from Alaska, and I met him when he lived in Alaska, and we've been friends, Jonathan, for, I don't know, 10, 12, 13 years. How long has it been? I'm not
More
sure.
than that, actually. Over half my life, I think, we determined last time we talked, because I'm going to be 30 here in April. And I was 14 whenever I met you. So we've passed the 15-year mark by this point. So
yeah, so it's been even more than that. That's amazing. Well, and not only have you been a great friend, but you are running the merchandise store, the metal shop, and gosh, it's been really exciting to see all of the products and all the things that Hayden has done most of the designs for us. But we've got a whole bunch of stuff in there and again, the profits from the metal shop go to the homeless ministry, which is a great cause. But Jonathan, we're moving a lot of this stuff.
We're moving a lot. We've got it all over the place. We've got whole bean. We've got the ground coffee right here. We've got the decaf. And my favorite, I think the coolest aesthetic is this K-cup box right here. And also the most convenient. These things sell out like crazy. The amount of emails that I get from people that are like wanting the K-cup. So we're going to start having them for people that are interested because these things sell out really quick. We are going to start keeping a much bigger stock on these.
Great.
But yeah, we've got everything. And honestly, there's no reason to get any other coffee. This stuff's delicious. It looks cool. I mean, like you said, the proceeds go directly to helping the homeless ministry and stuff. I know people in my church, my mom's another person, who are buying this actually exclusively as their coffee because it's got just the right, unless you want the decaf. I mean, this has just the right caffeine content in it. It tastes delicious. And we're looking at new flavors as well, too. We're trying to get some seasonal flavors and stuff.
Let's talk about that.
Please don't say pumpkin spice.
I'm going to say pumpkin spice because that's what we're doing.
There you go.
Well, I kind of appreciate the irony of that too. We're like metal coffee, but also doing the
right.
Yeah,
And I say
Starbucks.
that in jest because it's pumpkin spice season everywhere. So that might as
Yeah.
well do it.
Yeah, that's
You
one
might
where
as well join the club, huh?
Absolutely.
But Jonathan, you're talking about doing a different flavor, like a unique flavor, just a flavor of the month kind of a coffee.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's definitely something we're going to try and get going here soon. Something for, or at least seasonal. I think is something we've looked at too. But yeah, something like a subscription box, something like this, where we're going to have the like pumpkin spice, say for autumn or for November. I think we're looking at something like peppermint mocha or something for Christmas. So
Ooh, nice.
really cool ideas. Yeah,
Awesome.
and they just look so cool. Hayden does such a tremendous job. With the artwork and stuff. I'm trying to. Well, you can actually see back here. I mean, I have the Headbangers Brew poster right next to Jesus over here. So.
Well, yeah, because they go together.
Exactly. Yeah, I think Jesus drank Headbangers Brew, if I'm not mistaken. Don't quote me on that.
I think it's biblical.
Yeah, I think so too.
Biblical proportions. Well, Jonathan, thanks for a little bit of an update, and we got a lot of stuff coming up, and so if you wouldn't mind, can we check in with you every week?
Heck yeah, that would be awesome.
And hey, if I can interject, are you guys running any promotions today to kick off our new show that we should make mention of?
Yeah, we're going to be getting a code up on there. You know what I'll probably do is I'll go ahead and send you guys the code, and then you can have that ready for people. We don't have it just ready up on the website.
Starting next week, we'll do that.
All right.
Yeah, probably next week. Stay tuned for next week. We'll have that promotional code up.
But till then, they can go to this website and order.
Yes, exactly.
Great.
Yeah.
So Jonathan, what you're saying is starting next week, we'll have a code that will only be here on this show just for the day, and people can enter that code and get a discount. What are you going to do?
Yeah, I think we're looking at doing like a just like a 10-20% discount, probably just for the day. So they have to watch the show if they want to get that, or circulate it among friends.
And that's substantial. Yeah,
it really is. Yeah, the coffee already is pretty affordable.
Good. Yes, it is. Well, thank you, my friend, and we'll check in with you again next week.
Nice meeting you, Jonathan.
Hey, it's nice to meet you too. You guys have a good day.
You rock, dude.
See you.
Bye-bye. Well, have we got the guys from Rosalind in yet?
I think they're here. It looks like everybody's here, so let's do this.
Let's do it. All right.
Hey guys.
Adding in the whole group here.
Nice. Nils.
We need Nils on too. He's the one who looks middle.
There's Ebbe. Good to see you all. All right, cool. Well, Bob, I was telling you a little earlier that I've known these guys since they were kids, basically, and I love them to death, but I also love the music that they're doing.
What they say: train up a child in the way it should go, and it looks like you've done well.
Well, I don't know about that. They've done well on their own, but I've enjoyed watching them do it. It's been awesome. So yeah, they are.
Well, it's great to be here and a great show. Great catching up with you guys here on screen. Thanks for having us.
Well, we sure love having you. This has been awesome. You guys, now I have to say that we're missing Levi. Because he's babysitting his daughter, which is more important. So we're missing him. And Levi and Morton and Ebbe are fathers. And I was thinking this morning, Nils, I really need to get busy and put on my, in the Jewish culture, they call it a yenta. A yenta is a matchmaker, the person that finds you a good wife, and then you get married and you have family. And I realize I'm not doing my responsibility with you, Nils. I need to get busy.
Which is also why I need to go to Nashville soon.
Awesome.
Yes, Nashville is the capital to meet somebody. It seems like, or rather, Pastor Bob's compound, I guess. Yes.
Yeah. A compound. Sounds like a cult. Yes. So, Morten, you're in. Are you still in Italy?
Yeah, I'm at Venice Beach, the other Venice Beach, RVing Italy for a month now. We're going home Friday, so I'm trucking home with the rig, and my wife and kid are flying back from the airport. So, yeah.
Well, awesome. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate that. You're traveling.
So that's why I'm at an airport. I just went out to find a cell tower so I could have some good connection.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. And I'm sorry that we're kind of figuring out our way here. It's our first talk show, so we'll learn as we go.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. And Ebbe, it's very cool that you became not only a father, but a father of twins.
Yeah.
So how is that for you, dude?
I can hear them screaming in the background.
How old are they?
Well, let's just say it's been great. Easy to find chaotic influence for music, and it's a task, but I love it, and I love them to death.
And how old are your twins?
They're 2.5.
Oh wow, very good.
I'm actually sitting in that room at the moment, trying to find a spot that wasn't messy.
Oh wow!
Couldn't think of a better studio.
There you go.
The best one.
Well, you guys, it must be a little bit different, and you've all been in other bands as well before this. Morten, you were in Barricades, and you've all been in different bands, but different bands as single guys too. And single guys without families. How has that changed? Now that you're not only married but you have a family, does that affect your band? And you can't just practice every night for 5 hours, can you?
Right. I think that's like the foundation, and you just have to figure out scheduling, and that's always difficult. But even that, I mean, for me, band practice and playing shows and stuff is like the ultimate freedom. So just to go away somewhere, and I'm the lead singer, so just going to a basement and screaming your lungs out, that's just the best.
Yeah, absolutely. And he said going to a basement and screaming, he's actually the vocalist of the band. He's not just going there and screaming. Yeah, you're talking about the music. There you go. Yeah. And Ebbe, one of the things that you did when you got married was you cut all your hair off. You had the cool dreads, and you cut those off, and now you're growing it back.
I'm growing it back.
There you go. So
Nice.
Are you feeling more spiritual now that the hair is coming back? See, there you go.
Right.
That's it. Yeah. Now
that is something I know nothing about, by the way.
we got to ask Nils here.
When you talk about hair, Nils is the authority. Now, Nils, can I tell an old story real quick? There was a time when we were doing, we did a weekend retreat in Aarhus, and you had fairly long hair, and you said, I need to be in a wedding, and I have to cut my hair off to be in the wedding. And you were beside. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I did.
Yes, and I remember you telling me that. Yeah, and so you cut it all off, and it just felt horrible. And then after the wedding was over, you started growing it back, and man, did it grow back, huh? So your hair is it down to your waist or past your waist? Probably.
It's down past my butt.
Yes.
Wow.
It's
almost
some of the longest hair you've ever seen. So when you do windmills on stage, you have to make sure nobody's standing around you, don't you? You got a lot of hair to do that with.
Oh yeah, which is why we need to play on the big venues with Morten.
Yes.
With lots of space.
Yeah, I try to throw my guitar around just to give him some competition, you know.
There you go. And that'll do it. Yeah.
Because this isn't doing too much anymore.
Well, but you still look cool, dude. You know, you guys you're aging very well. It's a good thing.
Thanks.
Absolutely.
It's just coffee.
So
Just
Morton,
coffee, yeah.
you work a lot with how should I say, with tiny homes, with tiny spaces, with things that work in tiny spaces. You and your wife have been very successful in podcasting and kind of getting involved with all of that. That's a very interesting kind of a hobby for a lot of people that's really taken off.
Yeah, we've been blogging and YouTubing about the simple life, owning less stuff. I took what we call 100-thing challenge, living with 100 things for a year. Maria owned like 33 items of clothes for a year. So different stuff just to try it out. And that caught some attention and some media attention. So we started a blog and the YouTube channel. That's a long time ago, but
Awesome.
yeah, that's what we're doing full time. Yeah.
And that is awesome. And some really cool things. And we'll
and you were on it with your space and your Murphy bed
yes.
and your space saving stuff. That was awesome.
Yeah. Because I live in that kind of space too. Yes. Yeah.
It's interesting because you guys have been doing that for so long, and it still seems like it's a trend that wants to take off here in the United States. And some people have made like high-end businesses off these little homes, but it's something that so many people desire, and it sounds awesome, but very few actually grasp onto it, it seems. And it just seems like a great thing you guys are doing with that. And, you know, because I don't know if it's true or not. I've never traveled to Europe, but I've heard what's trending right now in Europe takes years before it happens here in the States. So
yeah, I think this one though came from the States over here. But you're definitely right. It's people are more interested in reading about it. I think it's easier to make money off a blog about it than actually having a building company build tiny houses.
Yeah,
yes,
because people just love looking
absolutely
at these houses and home tours
yes.
and stuff. And but it's something else to move into one, right?
That's really cool.
Well, and we're looking into tiny houses too for the homeless ministry. And Nils, you have a real heart for homeless. In fact, you worked with YWAM for a couple of years, and you spent some time in San Francisco on the streets with the homeless, and you worked with the homeless there in Denmark as well. Tell us a little bit about that, your heart for the homeless.
Yeah, well, it actually started off with a book called The Cross and the Switchblade by David Wilkerson. I read that book maybe 10 years ago, and I just felt that sparked the fire in me to help those who need this kind of help. And I just saw that these people are really broken, and so I just tried out to see how it would be to help out homeless people, and then it's been my passion ever since. Both here and also I was 1 month in Colombia, also working with addicts, or with like drug addicts in Colombia. So that was a whole different kind of homeless.
And that's what you're doing there in Denmark. Yes.
Yeah.
And you know, it's such a worthwhile ministry. I appreciate that a lot. Appreciate that you're doing it. So guys, we have a new album out we're excited about. Bob, do we have a graphic of the album?
I'm sorry, I do not have a yeah, let me get it up here really quick.
Okay, but the album was just released, what, 3 or 4 days ago? Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, last Friday.
It just dropped Friday, yeah.
Now, if you were to describe your music, how would you describe it? How would you describe it to somebody who is a metalhead and wants to know the genre and the kind of music that it is?
Yeah, maybe it's easier just to mention some bands that inspire us a lot. I would say Number Gene and The Chariot would definitely, I mean, the whole band Vision was born out of that's kind of live show with a lot of action and guitar swinging and action on stage and chaos and that whole Zero's movement. That was kind of when I got into to all this stuff, and I wrote most of the riffing. So I guess that's reflected there. But also there's more melodic parts on this record here because we released it at a Copenhagen metal label called Prime.
Yes.
And we have a little forth and back. They had some. They did. It was not like they told us to have more melody, but we wanted their input, so to speak. Maybe broaden it out a little bit more, because the first two shorter EPs we did were definitely very chaotic and very little melody, mostly just breakdown stuff.
Yes.
Just enabling us to go bananas on stage all the time. So there's definitely more melody and also a bit of clean vocals. And I mean, Ebbe is a new addition to the band for this record, and he's just a fantastic vocalist. And so that also took the music in maybe a slightly more, what would you guys say, direction?
I mean, I think one of the reviews we read, they said that we were kind of a metalcore band, but in a more, maybe a little bit more chaotic and dark way. So if you're not usually into metalcore, with all its clean choruses and fine-tuned sound, I guess we are more chaotic and dark and aggressive in our sound. And I try to do that with my vocals as well.
Yes. Awesome. And what are you planning to do with the album? Now, you guys, you are obviously, all except for Nils, you guys have families and you can't just travel anytime you want to. Are you planning on doing any touring? Are you going to be doing some live shows? What does the future look like for you?
Yeah, we just played Copenhagen at a little upcoming festival, and we were invited to play another festival in Copenhagen. So this label, or what can I say, distribution/label that we were on, they are setting up some shows for us. So far it's just been one or two shows here and there, and but we're definitely also looking at having maybe some shorter tours down to Germany, maybe, so exciting to see what will open up.
Yes.
But yeah, it's a crazy time right now because everybody wants to tour and nobody has been able to for a while, right, with COVID and stuff. So what we hear is that all the venues, they have a long list of cool bands they have on a waiting list, so to speak, that they owe a concert or two. So it's not too easy to get shows right now. But we managed to get a few shows in Copenhagen. So that's pretty awesome. Just to be able to get out there and play it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, you have a website. Bob, do we have their URL there somewhere?
I do have it right here for you.
Good. There we go. There's the Facebook page. And
thanks,
go
guys.
and take a look at the Facebook and folks, pick up this album. These guys are awesome. The music's awesome. The guys are awesome. We missed having Levi. And by the way, Levi is the one that wrote our intro. I don't know if you guys know that. But
awesome.
our intro to the show. He wrote the music and he put together the graphics. He's kind of a talented guy in that way.
Yeah,
so,
he is. Awesome.
So
he also did
Levi,
the cover art and some songwriting on the album as well. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we'll have him on for something else at some point. And you guys, would love to have you on again and get some updates. And we're excited about the music, excited about the album, and it's good to see you again.
Thanks, Pops.
Yeah, you too.
Awesome. All right, you guys. Thank you. See you.
Thank you.
Thanks, you guys, for being on.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thanks.
Well, Bob, we're coming up to our time with Chris. Is he in the?
With Chris Dorman is not on yet.
Yeah. Okay, he will be.
We don't have him in the queue yet.
All right. Well, let's see. George is just asking me, is this today or tonight? George. Just saying now. So let's see if George joins us here.
All right, and I just messaged Chris to make sure he's still on. But boy, we're getting a lot of people from all over the world watching this morning.
That's awesome. I noticed some of them that are coming up. Yes. Yeah, and I think it's kind of cool that that we have this technology that we can see people from everywhere.
It really is. Like, here we are talking to each other, and now we pull in our friend from Morton from Italy. Like what?
Yeah, I know.
We've had this technology for such a long time, and it still blows me away because I'm that Atari generation where you just you didn't have a whole lot, and still just amazes me.
Yes, absolutely. So George, I'm just sending him a note here.
And we do have Chris Dorman in the house.
Awesome.
And so should we go right into that segment then with Chris?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay, here we go. Hey, it's Chris Dorman.
There he is.
Good morning, friends.
How are you, sir?
We're calling this segment Meet the Podcasters, and Chris is probably not a new face to you, because Chris, we've been podcasting for a while together. So it's good to have you on and allow people to hear what you're doing. And let me just ask you that question first of all. How long has it been now that you've been doing your So What podcast?
Next month, October, it will be 6 years.
Wow, is it really? Wow.
6 years. Yep.
That just doesn't seem possible, does it?
No, it does not, actually. Yeah.
That's awesome. And the podcast, if you could give a kind of a basic foundation of what the podcast is about, how would you describe it?
Practical theology.
Okay.
For many, theology can be an intellectual exercise only, but it's to be an exercise of the heart, of the whole person. And in order to make theology practical, i.e. plug it into your life and live it, that's really what we're trying to do. And that's why the podcast is called So What. When I used to preach, I would discuss some point of the text, and I would say, well, then so what? What does this theology matter if it doesn't impact my heart and my life? Really, then what's the profit in it? What's the fruit of it? And so every message ended with so what, and then a discussion of the practical implications of the teaching. And so the title helps me to keep theology practical and rooted in the life of the believer.
Absolutely.
We've been podcasting together for a while, and I've always wondered why the name of that podcast was called So What. That's a cool story to hear.
And now you know, right?
Yeah.
It has a good history.
Yeah.
And Chris, you've been with Sanctuary for how long now?
Since 1987.
Wow. It's been a couple of years.
Just a couple, yeah. Just a couple.
Yes.
I was much younger and had much more hair.
Yeah, well, we were all a little younger then, but we're still as good looking. So that's the important part. That's the important part.
And Matt asked online, he says, Chris, do you remember my tat on my head that said, so what?
I do not remember that, no.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm sorry.
See, he's a huge fan of your podcast. He even got the tattoo.
Decades before it started.
Yeah, there you go. So, Chris, you do the podcast with Don, who has also been with Sanctuary for a long time. Mm-hmm. And you guys kind of do a tag team discussion on the Bible. And it's a once a week podcast. Mm-hmm. And but it's an important one. Chris, these days, if I can name one thing that I believe the church is really struggling with, it's good biblical foundation. We have so many people that go off politically and with their opinions and with this and that, and yet very little of it, even with the church, seems to be rooted and grounded in the Word of God. And I think now more than ever, that's a really important thing, isn't it?
I completely agree. I couldn't agree more.
Yeah. And so you have a new series starting, and I'd like you to talk about that because I'm excited for it. Tell us about the new one starting this coming week.
We sure hope so, God willing.
Yeah.
We've had some personal things and some illness, and so we have been kept from podcasting for over a month now, and I apologize for that to everybody. They're really circumstances beyond our control.
Yes.
But this new series will be called Father Knows Best. And it's really about the providence of God. And what does that mean? I don't know how else to say it, but just candidly, there's just so much anxiety in the hearts and minds of believers that honestly is unnecessary. And with a firm grounding in what God has revealed of himself and his purposes, we're hoping to alleviate a lot of that anxiety as people come to see what God has told us about his providential rule of this world, of his character, and of his word, that we can trust him, especially now when time seems so insane and out of control. You know, Bob, in the last couple of weeks, you've done a couple of podcasts, and this is your podcast on serpents and sheep. The writer wrote, "The world is a mess. It seems like Satan continues to win, and God is kicked to the curb. I'm losing hope." I read that, and that grieves me, because the scriptures tell a very different story. And we're hoping to elaborate on what the scriptures teach on these things to alleviate these kinds of fears and anxieties in the hearts of God's people.
Yes, absolutely. Chris, we're starting a push, actually this month, on mentoring. We're going to talk to George Ochoa about that in just a minute as well. But mentoring, the importance of the older men teaching the younger men, the older women teaching the younger women. Discipleship is another name for it, but mentoring even goes beyond that. Talk about your heart for mentoring.
If I could describe in one word the deepest passion of my heart, it would be discipleship. To help Christians really get rooted and grounded in their faith, to live out their faith, and to encourage others to come along in that journey, to come alongside them and share with them and help them. It's really just so vitally important and so neglected today, really.
Yes.
Just really neglected. I'm personally right now discipling, I was discipling 3 men, and I have been for a little while here in Denver. And now I'm discipling 2 men, and we meet weekly and talk throughout the week. And we're going through we're talking about character stuff right now. So we're going through Jerry Bridges' book, The Pursuit of Godliness and the Practice of Godliness. And just, great stuff, books. Important stuff, vital stuff.
Yes, very, very, very. And Bob, it's not just about teaching, but it's about, I always say, living your life in front of people.
Right. And so, so sometimes when we get together, we'll just go to dinner and just hang out, and we meet for at least 2 hours or so. And a good part of that every week is just talking about what's going on in our lives. We share text messages throughout the week, prayer requests, struggles, praise reports, those kinds of things. But we take time every week just to talk about honestly what's really, really going on. And with them, I'm open and I'm vulnerable and I'm honest, and they are with me. And we have a rapport, I hope, a strength of a relationship that goes beyond mentor-mentee, and it's really brotherly.
I really appreciate that, Chris, because, being in the church, so my podcast is The Outlaw Pulpit, and I talk about things from the church perspective, like churchianity, brick and mortar sort of stuff. And I so value your podcast because it is the heart of discipleship. And what you just said there is very important. It's one of the core values of the church that I pastor, that the best context for true discipleship is in everyday conversations and fellowship. But churches are really, really uncomfortable with that, because if they're not doing a Beth Moore study or something like that, they don't feel like they're doing Bible study. And that's just not the case, as you've proved.
Not at all. I couldn't agree with you more, Bob. Completely agree.
Yeah. So Chris, in your podcast, it's you and Don talking, sharing a biblical truth, using usually a portion of scripture and a thought and expounding on it. And it's just practical life as a Christian, advice and encouragement from the Word of God.
Yes. Yeah, we're really,
So it's called So What? It's on the Sanctuary International Matrix, the same place you're watching this right now. And Chris, it goes up on Sundays. Well, usually Saturdays. That's right, Saturdays.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see it on Saturdays. And Chris, we're looking forward to this new podcast. It's going to be great. 6 years. Congratulations. That's a long time.
Thank you.
At 10 years, you get the Sanctuary watch.
Yeah, you do. You win the gold watch at this point. Yeah. We ought to have that plaque, that YouTube has when you reach so many people. And I think it's time for a plaque. Yes. You made it 6 years. Congratulations. Yes. Great.
Thank you.
Chris, I love you to death. Good to see you today, my friend.
Good seeing you, Chris.
Love you, brothers. God bless.
Take care.
Bye.
Well, good.
So I just sent you George's email address. He just sent me. He said he hasn't gotten anything. So if you could send him the login stuff on that address. Okay.
And I got him, sent that link over to him, and that's the third email. So we'll see if that works.
Okay. Well, let's see if he responds then.
Yeah.
We will hope so.
Well, folks, this is pretty. Oh, I was going to say, this is really cool to have so many guests in and just sharing what's on their heart and what they're up to.
Well, and it's been a lot of fun. And it's
I got George in the house, by the way. So
you do? Good.
Yes.
Well, let's put him on.
Hey, it's George.
There he is.
Hey, what's going on? How you guys doing?
Good. How are you?
Good to see you, dude. So, George, we have saved the best till last now.
Oh, yeah. I had some troubles.
George Ochoa is in the house. It's all right, dude.
Can you hear me?
We like you.
We can hear you.
So we're calling this Legends Confessions. Now, when people call us legends, George, how does that make you feel?
Legends? I'm too young to be a legend.
That's what I always think. Yes.
Bob,
a living legend.
I hate to say it, but not to hate to say it. It's just, it is what it is. But next year, I'm about to turn 60. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
60 for old people.
Now, George, when I first met you, you were in a band called Prophet.
Oh, you're going way, way back.
Way back, because we go back that far. That was 1985. 1985 is when I met you. And you were in Prophet. And just so people can kind of get a little bit of bearing, and we'll talk about some other things, but just off the top of your head, a list of the bands that you've been in.
Okay. Well, Prophet, as you said, that was with Roger Martinez and I started together. Then we offshoot and started Recon. So then Recon came. Then Jimmy Brown came to a Recon show and stole me away from Recon and recruited me for Deliverance. So then I went into Deliverance. And from Deliverance, I've ended up, working with other bands, not necessarily being in the band, but working with them, producing or whatever, playing, and like Mortification, and toured with Vengeance for a while after the first round, disappeared. So Roger recruited to do the tour for that. I think that released Upon the Earth and another album too. So that was an interesting time. And then recently I've started I put out a record 2016 Worldview. That's probably my most proud work that I've done out of everything. I get more accolades than anything from Deliverance. Obviously people, because we had a lot of exposure with Deliverance on Headbangers Ball and MTV and all that stuff, and so Deliverance is by far the most, shall we say, biggest selling band that I've been in. But I'm most proud of probably the stuff I've done with Worldview, because it's really who I am musically, and and I'm working on the second record for Worldview right now. But I'm also right now working with Michael Drive, which most of you know him as Mike Lee of Barren Cross, and we're putting out a record, and that band's going to be entitled M24, and that's kind of short for Matthew 24, and it's very fitting for today's times, by the way.
Yes, it is.
So there you go. There's the history.
Awesome.
So one of the questions that came up, it says you say prophet, and someone was wondering, do you mean Messiah prophet or just prophet?
Just prophet, yeah.
Just prophet. That
Okay.
was, yeah, just prophet, not Messiah prophet. That's a whole nother man.
Do you remember Messiah prophet, George?
Yeah, I remember them. I don't know much of their music, to be honest with you, but I do remember them.
Yeah, they were a great band. Actually, they broke up at my house. I'm not sure what that means, but yeah, they were a great old band. Good band from the 80s. Yeah.
Someone asked George a question if he enjoys playing guitar or catching bass more. Catching bass more, sorry.
Oh, catching bass. I just put that above Facebook. I think somebody saw that. It'd be kind of fun if I caught bass, but I'm actually just fishing for bass, which I haven't caught anything yet. I moved out here to Tennessee, and I've gone bass fishing a few times, and believe it or not, these guys are smarter than I am, I guess, because I haven't been able to catch one fish yet. So I'm calling out to anybody here in the Nashville area. Can you take me somewhere fishing where I can actually catch a fish?
There you go. And that's a good idea. Now, you've been fishing in my lake here, haven't you? That's probably the reason.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of fish in it.
There's not a lot of fish in it?
Well, I think there are, yeah, but I don't think it's the best fishing. Maybe it is.
Well, yeah, there are. There's a lot of bass guys like Larry Fish and them. They know how to. They say Old Hickory's pretty good for bass, but I've got out with Larry a couple times, but I haven't caught anything.
you just need a little more experience, don't you?
Well, no, with these lakes, yes, because I've been bass fishing for a long time, but yeah. Plus, I don't have a boat. I used to have a boat, so I plan to get a boat.
Well, I know the key up here in Wisconsin is at nighttime, at dusk, when the water starts popping, when fish are getting the bugs off the water, that's when you throw what's called a hula popper on and just start working that on the surface, and those bass go nuts over that.
Oh, yeah. There's
there
nothing
you go.
better
There's a tip.
There's nothing better catching the bass top water. But to answer your guys' question, I think guitar playing to answer his question.
There you go.
Yeah. Awesome.
By the way, here's my cool cup. I didn't show you guys. I got it at the Reagan Library. It says "Trust but Verify," but by our old with a Ronald Reagan signature. This is my favorite.
I
cup,
like that. There you go. Ronald Reagan, one of my favorites, dude.
Oh yeah,
true hero. Of course, I just have my cow mug.
Oh, there you go.
So, George, we're starting a push this month in Sanctuary for the metal community to mentor a bit more. And you know that one of the problems we've always had in the community is really a lack of mature older men who are able to, to really mentor and disciple the younger men. We had that problem at Sanctuary where we were all young. And these days, there are people, we're getting up there in years. And there are many of us who have been doing this for a very long time. And I really want to begin to encourage all of us to really reach out to the younger crowd and begin to mentor them, begin to bring them along as the Bible tells us to. You've been around for a while. I'm sure you see the same need to dispense some time and encourage some of the younger bands. What do you think about that?
Oh, I think that's an awesome burden you have and an awesome comment. It's kind of a thought that I've had myself, and I'm on board to help in any way I can. It's funny when you're younger, even you get the best jewels of wisdom, in your ears, but you're still not going to listen to it, and you're going to learn the hard way a lot of times. And but if you catch those couple of people that will actually listen to you, and you can help them like not learn the hard way. Like for instance, don't sleep with your girlfriend because you're going to get her pregnant, and then that's going to be something that's going to like haunt you the rest of your life, and it's going to put your life in a direction that you didn't plan on it happening. Not to mention that the Lord doesn't want you to do that in the first place. There's a reason why he wants you to wait till you're married to do that. And so
just good practical advice.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Because I mean, people are going to do what they're going to do, and I am a firm believer that I have a kind of interesting view of like, and I try to make it obviously a biblical view, but sometimes I stray from that. But that people, for the most part, won't change. But I do believe that people, when the Holy Spirit gets a hold of somebody, He could definitely turn their life around, and they do change. Mm-hmm. Apart from the Holy Spirit intervening in their life, I think most people don't change.
Yes,
it takes a miracle of God to break their spirit and to have them surrender to God, and you know that's the only way a person, I think, truly changes. Personally,
I think you're absolutely right. Yes. Mm. And so, George, in retrospect, with that in mind, and you look back over your career in music, and as you said, you played in a lot of bands. You've stood on a lot of stages throughout your life. What would you have done differently, or would you have done anything differently?
Oh yeah, there's a great word that all of us should always have at the forefront of our minds, and it's called regret. And you want to go through life with as least regret as possible, and that means that you're doing the right thing. Because when you're doing the right thing, you really have no regrets whatsoever. Yes. And there's so many people that have been bad fathers, and then they regret it. They've been bad husbands. They've been not doing what. In other words, I was talking to somebody the other day. It's interesting about the whole Jonah incident where God told him to go preach to the Ninevites, but he refused to listen to God and went his own way. And we know what happened after that. He got swallowed up by a whale, and God spared him and taught him a lot of lessons through that. And then what did he end up doing in the end? He ended up going to preach to the Ninevites, and a bunch of them got saved and repented. And if he just listened to God in the first place, he would have forgot doing having. But sometimes people need to actually go through those before they actually have that aha moment and see the light. So I think in retrospect, I wish I would have put out more music than I did, because I know that God's given me a talent, and I'm really I'm too picky and too perfectionistic to like put anything out that isn't good. So sorry, my dogs are barking in the back.
It's okay.
And my main regret is that I didn't put out more music than I did. But I'm going to change that real soon. I'm going to put out 2 records real soon.
And you've got a studio in your home, and you're working on some stuff.
But going back, let's not talk about me. Going back to the question that you asked earlier, I do see myself in the future helping people as far as produce, not just on when you're in the studio, spend a lot of time together. And if I could disseminate any wisdom that I did get through the years with being somebody with some younger kids in the studio, that's a great time to bond while working on music. While working on music. So I want to definitely in the future mentor people in that way, but also get into production and produce people's records. And I've done that already. Almost every record that I've ever done, I've produced. And I think I'm gonna, there's a time where your card for being on stage starts to expire. Your knees give out, for whatever reason, and so you start to take a role behind the scenes, and like you said, mentoring people, but not just mentoring people from a musical standpoint, but from a spiritual standpoint. To me, it all goes together. To be honest with you, I don't separate.
It really does.
I mean, honestly, my life is about Christ. It's funny. I'm going to quote this Kanye West. Kanye West was obviously he was been a rapper, a worldly rapper for a long time, and then they asked him when he had his conversion. I remember the guy, I think it was Jimmy Kimmel, asked him, he goes, this was pretty cool, actually. He asked him, so are you going to be like a Christian artist now? What are you going to be? He goes, I'm a Christian everything now. See, that was an awesome answer.
That's an awesome answer.
Yeah, I'm a Christian everything. And everything that you do in life, if the Lord's in your life, I mean, it should permeate every aspect of your life. It's not just Sunday or whenever you go to
a great point.
when you go to Pastor Bob's house for a barbecue.
Yeah, see, I know. And we got another one coming up. I need to let you know.
The barbecue.
But George, we're neighbors now too, by the way.
Yeah,
we live in the same city, so we're cool.
So,
and we're trying to get everybody to move here.
Oh, I love Nashville. It's awesome. My wife really loved it, so that's a good thing.
It's been awesome. Yes. Well, George, we want to have you back when the new project gets closer to a release, and when you know a little more what's going on with that. Let's have you back, and we can talk some more about that project. And I'm excited for what the future has for you, my friend.
Well, thank you.
Awesome.
And I love Nashville. I love it out here. I love you, Bob. I've always been a believer in Sanctuary, and I was part of Sanctuary. The Sanctuary Hollywood, if you remember, and Whittier before that with Steve, and that was a lot of good time. Bob and I go way back. You and I go way back. And
36 years, dude.
At the embryonic point of Sanctuary, we were both there together. So
yes. And it's cool to continue to work with you. I like that.
Yeah. In fact, maybe we could do a show one day talking about the old times at Sanctuary, like some of the memories you have at your church, some of the memories we have at Whittier and Hollywood, and just some of the great things the Lord.
We do have you remember Chris and Monday Keene?
Yes.
They're going to be doing a new show called The Sanctuarians. And just with all the old Sanctuary crowd, getting different guests on every week and talking about it, I'm sure they'll be hitting you up.
Oh, great!
So
that'd be awesome.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Because I definitely, I have some stories to tell, and I'll have to dredge up some memories. But there's some good stuff. There's a couple little lame things in there, but we won't talk about those.
For the most part, we're good. I know. Well, George, blessings to you, my friend, and we'll chat
Nice meeting you, George.
Hey,
thank you, my friend.
Have a good rest of the day.
Bye-bye. Well, Bob, the time is getting away from us.
Yeah, and I think there's a very interesting. What's that?
Do we have any questions that came in?
No, there's no questions really that came in, but there's an interesting tidbit regarding your mug. And here it is. Yeah. Sherry posted that what kind of bull is on your mug. So
Oh,
and of course we know Sherry from Wedding Party and
we do. She's a great friend.
Dark Valentine.
I don't know a whole lot about it. Your dad and your mom would have loved this mug. Your mom would love this mug. Her father passed away a few months ago.
Yeah. So, not sure what happened to Pastor Bob there, but I'm sure he will be right back on the air again. So, sometimes that happens with the live broadcast. We end up clicking on something, and we will do our best here to get him logged back on again. So let me quick send him a message. And we'll see if we can get him back in here for a proper send-off. Otherwise, we still have Matt here. Matt's still here with us.
Yo,
thanks for all your comments during the show.
Oh, you know what, man? We're all family, so I love every opportunity I can to give George a hard time, because that guy gave me a hard time growing up. I was like this crazy teenager. And George was always getting in my business. So, now that we've kind of come back around and circled back, I'm giving him a little bit of back,
There you go.
Yeah.
And it's good to see Chris Dorman too, because that guy and I have been through a lot. And he could write we could do a couple podcasts or a couple vlogs just on some of the drama that I've been involved in and how he's been involved, and, forgiveness and just all sorts of stuff.
We're older and wiser, Matt.
Well, Matt, thanks again for joining us and for hanging out in the background there. Sometimes the unforeseen happens, like a disconnection, so it was nice to be able to bring you in for a couple minutes.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks, family love thing, man.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
Hey, sorry,
Bob, we're out of time, and I was just about to say this beautiful mug that I got it at Tractor Supply.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. So who knows the things you can find at Tractor Supply.
Well, I think we all want to thank you for joining us.
Yes. Yes. And we're looking for, we're going to get this down even better. We did a pretty good job today, I think.
Yeah, I think things went well.
Yeah. And we'll learn and we'll grow. If you have people you'd like to see on this podcast, let us know and we'll bring them on. We've got some exciting ideas for the future.
All right.
Some exciting guests that'll be coming up. Bob, thank you so much, my good friend. Always
yes,
a
it's
pleasure.
been fun. And we will see you next week.